Hi, in this video I want to address thoughts moving away from psychology. First thought: why should I be listening to somebody so young? Now, a possible source of that thought may be putting greater care for external signs of strong self-worth than the actual sources of it. It may be visible by making sure that only person of higher rank provides feedback to someone of lower rank in a given field. It also may be visible in artificial blocking of providing feedback by somebody of lower rank to somebody of higher rank, irrespectively of the quality of the feedback. In my experience, someone with strong self-worth most likely looks at the quality of the feedback, and even if she does look at the rank, then only to better assess accuracy of the feedback. Now, people with strong self-worth do not feel it being diminished even when they receive critical feedback. By the way, in this channel we're going to talk about self-worth too, so if you are interested in it, then subscribe to the channel to get notified about videos on that. Another reason for thinking, why should I be listening to someone so young, may be the fact that you do have the knowledge and experience presented in this channel. In that case, I believe it is worth to share the channel with people you know are less knowledgeable and experienced. Second thought, moving away from psychology. But to me, everything is okay, both with me and with others. And the thing is that it certainly can be so. Unfortunately, not everyone who thinks so is necessarily in good mental shape. Explaining how can that be is more complex. So bear with me for 2 more hours. Just joking, but I still need your focus on this. This thought may have source in 2 harmful mental habits. I will just name them here, but if you do not know how they work, then please watch the video 8 mental habits mentally strong people do not have. Link in the description. First of the 2 approaches is vicious cycle of negative perceiving of mental aspects. Now, being trapped in this approach, you arbitrarily do not want to find anything to improve. You do not want that because you do not want anyone to know about that, and so use that as a reason for labeling you with something unpleasant, like that you're lazy. A valuable and productive approach is rather to leave that vicious cycle, is to stop perceiving any mental aspect as an insult and start treating that as an opportunity to improve. Second approach is seeking crime, seeking criminal punishment and more punishment. It causes same counterproductive behavior, that is, you arbitrarily do not want to find anything in you to improve. And this time you do not want to do that in order not to be accused of a crime, like negligence. Again, a valuable and productive approach is rather to drop that approach and disregard such accusations, both coming from you using that approach and coming from other people using that approach. Any mental aspect is an opportunity to improve. A digression. Somebody may say that if there is nothing to fix, but only things to improve, then it suggests that the state of mental shape is pretty good. And in my opinion, we're not dealing with such a scenario. In my opinion, the state of the mental shape is poor, although it is not yet a disease. I describe sources of that state in a video 8 habits mentally strong people do not have. Link in the description. Now, the state of the mental health is rather like hygiene in medieval ages. Back then, we didn't wash our hands, and we didn't know that it could benefit our physical health quite much. And similarly today, we do not care about our mental health so much. We're not taking care of our emotions and effectiveness of our behaviors. This channel is to address that issue. End of digression. Third thought, moving away from psychology. this doesn't work. Authors of it may have not seen fast or concrete results on themselves or others. Or they have seen results and even they use the techniques on their own and achieve the results. However, they most likely had way bigger expectations. Having said that, I must say that mental techniques are not guarantees. It is a high probability. It is a probability and not guarantee, because improving mental aspects in fact requires work. Moreover, when using mental techniques in interactions, we do not control all the factors. We do control our behavior and words, especially when we put effort into those, or when we make a habit of those. However, we do not control other people, we do not control external circumstances, and we cannot change our personality. So to sum up, mental techniques provide probability and not guarantee. Fourth thought, moving away from psychological aspects. Psychology puts labels on people. Source of that may be the fact that psychological measurement tools have less values than number of people in the world. I mean, there are tools that have 16 traits, 30 traits, 60 possible values, and so on. And that is less than 8 billion people as of today. Taking into consideration that everyone is unique, those tools must be labeling people. I disagree with that, and here's why. When medicine as a science treats, heals body, it recognizes that certain traits, characteristics, are common to most people, like structure of muscles or way the digestive system works, obviously with few little exceptions. Medicine recognizes that certain traits and characteristics are common to groups of people and to a certain degree, like height or blood type. Similarly, psychology recognizes that certain traits and characteristics are common to groups of people. It certainly has little value when talking about uniqueness of a human being, but uniqueness is not the only aspect worth looking at. Fifth thought, moving away from psychology. Psychological techniques are immoral. Now this one comes from a reasoning saying that when someone uses mental techniques, she changes his behavior from current one, that is natural one, into new behavior, that is artificial one. And artificial behavior is cheating, which is immoral. I disagree with that reasoning, and here's why. We deliberately take care of our bodies, intervening in them with great extent, and we do not consider that immoral. To me, similarly, changes of same magnitude in psyche are also not immoral, especially when they're aimed at mental health improvement. Additionally, people may change their behavior over their lifespan unconsciously, and we do not consider that change immoral. In this context, a conscious change is even better because it's faster and it gives more chances for the change to be in the healthier direction. Sixth thought, moving away from mental techniques. Psychological techniques are manipulation. Interestingly enough, psychology recognizes manipulation and persuasion. They both look identical, however, the intentions are different. Manipulation has bad intentions because it means convincing someone to things not along his interest, and persuasion means convincing someone to things along his interest. Now, decision on using psychological techniques is the same as decision on using knife, computer, and intelligence. Just because someone can use knife to harm someone, we're not banning use of it. Just because someone can use computers to hack into a system, we're not banning it. And just because someone can use intelligence in a crime, we're not banning use of it. And similarly with psychological techniques. Just because someone can use those in a bad manner doesn't mean it's worth banning it. In fact, the positive usages of psychology are far better, outweigh the negative ones. Let's move on to next thought. Now I want to refer to statements relating to a certain area of psychology, that is communication and feedback. What do I mean? When we talk, we usually discuss things from discipline we are working on. We also can make insights on communication itself. And I want to tell about the myth that relates exactly to that. So it relates to communication about communication. And it goes like this. This is useless chatter. We should get back to work. My assessment of that is, yes, there can be a situation that we're talking too much on a given subject, including subject of communication. However, an opposite scenario is also possible. That is, that we're talking way too little on how we communicate. Even more, there can be a problem with quality of communication and not amount. And in that context, reducing amount of conversation might not bring any good at all. So to sum up, both amount and quality of communication need to be addressed. In general, talking about way of communication is a very good idea. In contrast, cutting out such discussions is dangerous. And it is because, I want to stress that very strongly, way of communication influences discussions on any subject. Last thought, moving away from psychology. If it was so easy, everybody would do it. That's weird. I'm not going to do that. There are many examples where human civilization used that argument inappropriately. I believe you could give few examples on your own. I will give just one. The example is loading containers on ships. So loading cargo on trucks to ships was not always done carrying just a whole container, although we had cranes long before. Idea for that was born in the head of a truck driver. When he has come up with the idea, shipping companies turned it down with an argument that if it was so simple, everybody would do it. He saved money for 20 years just to establish a company of his own that uses this technique. Time and cost reduction of 8 to 10-fold forced all other players to do the same. So 20 years of opportunity lost. I want the opposite for psychological technique, mental health techniques, and strong mentality techniques. If I have decreased doubts on diving into psychological aspects and strong mentality techniques, then thumb up and subscribe to get notified about upcoming videos. I want to reach out people benefiting from my knowledge, so share this video on Facebook and other social media. Thank you and see you.